What's going on, y'all, and welcome on in. In today's video, we're going to talk about the two heroes at the table. The one on the right being the number one picked, number one banned, most oppressive lady since her release, Conqueror Lilias. If y'all watched my previous video titled The Gods of E7 and How to Counter Them, when it came time to talk about Conqueror Lilias, I didn't have much to say besides trying out speed her. She has very few counters, and since she has such a high base speed, it's just not really a viable strategy to just get better gear, get better speed gear, and try to contest her first turn. Instead, at the left-hand side of the table, guys, I have a unit that I think is the real deal. So, when I made a guide, or when I talked about Shadow Knight Pyllis first being introduced to the game, I mentioned that she's a very, very nice unit, given how many counters type units were available at the time. Rem, Violet were kind of running the scene, and Shadow Knight Pyllis felt like an answer from Smilegate to address that. However, ultimately, I said that if you have like the Meta Knights like Fallen Cecilia or Crimson Armin, you kind of just use those instead of this 3-star. Guys, I'm here to tell y'all this is not a half-baked answer to Conqueror Lilias. Shadow Knight Pyllis is the real deal. So in today's video, first off, I want to make a big shout out to Call8, Call8x7 in game. I have a review and that I'll link that above. We did an interview/review style with him. You guys need to check it out. Very good friend of mine, but he's been selling me, trying to tell me, Carl, you need to try out Shadow Knight Pyllis, especially into Conqueror Lilias. We've been playing it for the past few days now in Emperor ranked RTA, and guys, it is definitely worth building her up and trying her out for yourself. So in this video, let's go ahead and talk about all the things you need to know: builds, stats, artifacts, skill enhancements, what kind of team comps you want to run with her, as well as another bonus unit that she's very, very strong against, guys. Another very strong ML5. You might be able to guess it now, but stay tuned. We'll cover all the matchup stuff as well. So I hope this helps you guys out. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started by talking about the most ambitious mobile game of all time, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is a free-to-play game that you guys need to try out right now. My absolute favorite thing about Raid is definitely the champions. They're all so unique, and you never really know who you're gonna get next. After gathering my champions, I like gearing them up with the best sets so that I can step into some PvP battles. PvP is a must for me in any game, and Raid does it so well. Last but certainly not least is the Raid bosses. And speaking of, the newest boss just released in Raid is the Hydra. It's got 6 heads, each one a boss battle all on its own. The Head of Suffering, like its name implies, is all about making you suffer. It's got a new effect called Pain Link, which allows it to share damage that it takes with you. Next up is the Head of Decay that will try to slowly weaken your team. But the real kicker, guys, is its passive. Every time you try to heal one of your champions, they actually lose max HP. A complete nightmare for any player. Right now, Raid is giving away a super limited edition champion to every player in the game, esports legend and Navi superstar Simple. All you have to do is log in for 7 days between now and January 28th, and he's yours. If you miss the date though, guys, you miss out forever. So make sure you log in. There's a ton happening in Raid this month. One of my favorite factions, the Shadowkin, is getting a brand new Faction Wars crit. On top of that, there's a ton of New Year events, tournaments, and a special fusion event where you can get one of Raid's newest legendary champions. With all those amazing updates and news, there has never been a better time to start playing. So use the link in the description below or scan my QR code and you'll get a free starter pack worth almost $30 to kickstart your game. We're talking about a free champion, Rector Drath, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in game. All this treasure can be found in your box right up here, and it's only available for 30 days for new players. And it's really that simple, y'all. Just click the link in the description below, find me in game with the name Car6, and thank you once again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring us. Let's get back to the video. Real talk, boys. Thank you for being cool with those ads. They really, really do help out the channel, like I said last time. Okay, y'all, let's go ahead and talk about Shadow Knight Pyllis, the latest 3-star specialty change knight. First, let's go ahead and just quickly recap on her skill set. The skill 3 has a provoke, a bury, and we'll also talk about the awakening skill tree bonuses because some of those are very, very relevant and very important to the build overall. But the Perceptive Slash skill 3, it has some damage dealt, damage scaling with defense, but this kind of build is going to focus on Shadow Knight Pyllis as the main tank. I have seen bruiser builds actually look really fun and effective, but this guide is going to be focused on Shadow Knight Pyllis. You can see the Aureus right here. We'll go into artifacts later, but this is the main tank, so we need the extra bulk. So no bruiser, no damage stats at all. Take note of the soul burn. It's not always relevant, especially versus ML Lilias, Conqueror Lilias, but it does come into play sometimes, and it's very, very powerful. You have a spammable skill 3 with all these effects. The skill 2, guys, this is actually one of the biggest things that makes Pyllis so good against Conqueror Lilias. If you notice, right, the defense buff only happens after the 4th attack, which kind of, if you look at a unit, another main tank like Crow, who can activate defense up for his squad just with a click of a button, it kind of makes this look much worse. However, if we look at Conqueror Lilias and the fact that she always brings in a dual attack, guys, you see where I'm going with this? We use the provoke from the skill 1 or the skill 3, right? We have provoke chance on both, and that's going to allow 2 Lilias turns will proc this alone, let alone any other AoE random hits that Pyllis is going to take. We're going to have this defense up a lot. This also, every time Shadow Knight Pyllis herself gets hit, she also has her own self-scaling defense, so she's going to just feel super tanky. Skill 1, like I mentioned, the provoke is very important for stacking that skill 2 bonus. Now let's go ahead and quickly look at the Awakening Tree bonuses in case you're not fully aware. She has additional hit chance. She has combat readiness push on the skill 3. So she's going to be good into units like Violet, Remnant Violet, Milim, anything that can dodge. She has extra bonuses for, which will make her even more kind of viable or, you know, want to be picked as our main tank. Not just the bonuses that we're talking about, Conqueror Lilias, plus that other ML5, which I'll talk about here in a second, guys. But the main thing I want to show y'all is right here. This is also the next nail in the coffin to fight those Conqueror Lilias. We just get such a huge effect resist boost, which is just makes her very easy to gear. So not only is she a 3-star, not only does she cost no Molagora, but this is also tailor-made to fight Conqueror Lilias. Because if you saw my Conqueror Lilias video, or if you just fought any Conqueror Lilias, a lot of them will put on like an effective ring, and maybe they'll have around 100 or so, usually less effectiveness, right? Now, of course, if people start making more effectiveness, we're gonna have to build more effect resist. If they start building their Conqueror Lilias with effect resist to stop our Shadow Knight Pyllis provokes, then we'll build more effectiveness in return, right? It's kind of a balance, pendulum swing kind of game between us and the Conqueror Lilias player. But with that 60% bonus, which Conqueror Lilias is gonna take on the first turn where it really matters, our Shadow Knight Pyllis cannot be provoked because we're sitting at 160 effect resist, guys, and I have not been provoked yet. I'm sure there's going to be some Conqueror Lilias at like sitting at 60% or 100% effectiveness or a little higher. That will get me eventually, but I also have random effect resist from either artifacts, made Chloe passives, effect resist imprints, so it's really more than 160, right? Or 159 if you want me to be literal. But the point is, it's very easy to stack effect resist and bulky stats for a 3-star hero. So not only is she very effective versus the current meta, she's very easy to gear because of those extra awakening bonuses you get. So quickly looking at the stats, guys, I mentioned a high focus on bulk. And honestly, if I could dedicate more gear, I would even drop more defense for more health, only because of Aureus. Like I said, I like this as my main tank. You can do something else. You don't need Aureus, in which case you'll maybe want the extra defense for the, you know, extra damage plus better barriers. The speed, though, I think is very important to be, you know, 200 plus if you can, guys. It's not the most important thing, but don't run her super slow because you will never have a turn because we're fighting Conqueror Lilias, who is one of the fastest units. We need to make sure we can provoke her, you know, somewhere in between how many turns she's cycling through, yeah? The effect resist, of course, we're sitting at 160 here, so try to shoot for 100, guys, and that'll make you feel a lot more comfortable, and that should be very achievable. You don't need defense set. You can just maybe swap in an effect resist set. I kind of just threw on what I had to achieve the overall stats, so major bulk, 200 speed, try to get 100 effect resist, call it a day, all right? Skill enhancements, guys, since it's all free, just max it all out. I skipped the last one to save some catalyst, but you might as well. Honestly, I'll probably get this because every damage adds up, and we will be spamming a lot of skill 1s. Last thing I want to mention for the gearing is if you can get counter set, guys, it's an extra bonus. With how easy it is to gear Shadow Knight Pyllis, counter set should fit comfortably in, and I think that would be the only thing I could recommend. However, if you need the extra speed or you need the extra stat, you know, allowance, just go for speed set. You should all be farming it. There's a lot of free pieces. Other 2-piece set, you don't need immunity. You can go effect resist, like I mentioned. Overall, just go for overall stats, and if you have counter, it's just an extra bonus, yeah? As for the artifact selection, I really want to recommend Aureus as the main tank, okay? There's a lot of damage mitigation through other characters' passives like Archie Mercedes, through Little Queen Charlotte, through Adamant Shield on another night. This is the only damage share, and it's the main thing you're going to use to mitigate damage, unless it's built in like Troublemaker Crozet. But Shadow Knight Pyllis is going to want this if you use her as a main tank. Other options though, guys, of course, will include anything that's good on other knights: Adamant Shield, Holy Sacrifice, Noble Oath, she scales with defense. You could even use Elbrus Ritual Sword if you want to combine it with the counter set just for the extra memes, but I really want to recommend Aureus, guys, and I want you all to use her as one of the main tanks when you fight Conqueror Lilias. And I kept hinting at another Moonlight 5-star that she's good against, Belian. Why is she good against Belian? Well, Belian on counter set or Ritual Sword, Pyllis is tailor-made to fight counters. She has those built-in bonuses. The amount of hits Belian's going to put out will also accelerate our skill 2 defense up, just like against Conqueror Lilias. And then last but not least, we have the extra cleanse from the skill 3, because Belian, as we all know, has a lot of annoying debuffs like the provoke, and then on the skill 1, the blind and hit chance, or the speed down and hit chance, which are just so annoying. So in closing, guys, Shadow Knight Pyllis is a super accessible, no Molagora, low investment cost main tank we can use to address some of the most oppressive units in the game at the moment. Don't take my word for it. Try it yourself. Let me know in the comments below if she worked out for you. I think she really will. Okay? Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.